Okay, here we are. Thursdays, 11 o'clock. And this is the last one of the term. QT conversations. All year, we've been deeply, gently, warmly discussing big topics in tutoring. And frankly, I've run out of good behavior. Today, today we're going to do things differently. Today, we're going to talk about our bugbears. We're going to have a good old rant about the things that we would love to change. I do have some sensible questions for us, but I've given the QT members some warning about this, so they've got their rant on. Dee wasn't even going to come today because she doesn't like to rant, but she just remembered something that she is quite annoyed about, and she will tell us about that in a second. So, Jenna, how are you doing? Good. Nice to see you. We are going to get started. Qualified tutor membership and the qualified tutor vision and mission is all about raising standards in tutoring. And usually we do that by making sure that people feel safe, skilled, and supported. But sometimes you just have to harness that anger, harness that passion, and actually point out the things that aren't right. And I'll tell you where this idea came from. So earlier on this week, I participated in an educational psychologists conference for parents and professionals. And I was wearing both my hats and changing them swiftly. Lots of tears, lots of emotion, lots of networking, lots of hugs. It was a lovely, lovely day. But the final session was slightly disappointing because it was a conversation about emotional literacy that communicated zero emotional literacy. Okay. So this woman talked at us through slides, long list of bullet points, very little engagement whatsoever about the importance of understanding people's feelings. So my rant to kick us off, the thing that frustrates me is poor CPD. You got people in a room, do something with them. You know, you had 30 people organize their kids, organize their work, show up, bums on seats, all of that proximity. There were chocolate biscuits, so let's give them credit for that. But they could have leaned on all the expertise in the room, which is what we of course do here. And that's what we're going to do today. So that was my first bugbear. So here we go. The first question for you is this. What's one thing in tutoring that frustrates you because you know it can be better? Claire Torbett, you've told me that you're ready with your rant. So bring it.
I kind of have to. The obvious one is safety and what's the vision of what a tutor is and how it's still seen by a lot of people, and I must admit with my clients and stuff I haven't experienced this as much, but that just generally it's still seen as a hobby and it's not seen as a serious profession. But that's not just by people wanting to use our services, that's by some up and coming tutors as well. They don't see themselves as a professional, so that could be better.
I agree very much. It's almost like I wrote a book on that. Claire, what was your gorgeous story about your students asking you what you do for a living?
Yes. So I had, oh gosh, I can't even remember. I think it was my year 6 group, and they were talking about their jobs that their mums and dads do, or their caregivers, or whatever terminology I'm meant to use. And one of them turned to me and said, "Well, what's your job?" And
in the middle of a session.
In the middle of a session, and I was like, "Well, this is my job. I get to come and chat with you and eat biscuits and play maths games, and that's how I earn my money."
My year 7 told her mum that she's like, well, she said it's not tutoring. Whatever it is that we do together, she loves it, but it's not tutoring. And you just feel like, what is it that she thought tutoring was that isn't this that she's benefiting from in the session? So I on the one hand, you want it to feel effortless for your students, but on the other hand, you want tutors to put the effort in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the two things go hand in hand. It's only because you're so skilled that you make it seem so effortless. Okay, that was a lovely place to kick us off, and thank you for saying safety first, because it's silly to talk about any of this stuff without putting safety first. Rena, do you have a rant for us? What's one thing in tutoring that frustrates you because you know it can be better?
Parents.
All of them? Blanket statement.
Just a few.
Should we close the meeting now?
No. There's a few. It's like there are some parents that aren't emotionally aware of their own child and how they learn and how they develop, and they just want to force time onto them. And then when they dysregulate for whatever reason for time, they don't understand that. And then the constant emails 10, 11 o'clock in the evening for the session that's tomorrow. That's what bugbears me.
Okay, so you've said two things there. On the topic of parents, you've said that they don't understand the needs of of their child as a learner, and you've said they don't understand how to communicate with you effectively. I will take that. Jenna, are you ready? Angie, I'm coming to you next.
So I'm presently also being squished by Puppy.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with a good squishing. Other people use comfort blankets, but a big dog does the trick.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of second every single thing that's been said already. When you asked this question initially, I saw it and I had to put my phone down because I was like, all of it. There is so much that all of these little things, and sometimes they are really little things, but the thing about not seeing us as professionals, this is our entire career. I think that's one thing that is constant.
I called myself out on this recently. Somebody asked me what I do, and it was a stranger, and I was like, it was really small talk. And I said, I'm a teacher. And I kicked myself afterwards. Why did I say that? Why did I not say I'm a tutor? We've got to wave our flags higher.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we exploded your brain with that text. I want some ranting though. I'm coming back to you. Angie.
Yeah, I've got to say, and I hate it because there's a story behind everybody, but sometimes parents, I understand, I am totally up for being open with your children, but I have one parent in particular at the moment who I would say overshares about her child's behavior while he's there. And I just feel as if that it's sort of, I want to say, let's do this another time. Okay. And I get frustrated with myself because I can't, but she's, that they're the boss in the end. They're the boss.
Okay, so there's a few things there, and I'm really happy you said they're the boss, because they're not the boss. They may be the client, but you're a professional, and you're right that they're not communicating effectively and that they're doing their child a disservice, and they're not improving their behavior by performing and venting at you. It's not at all productive, that way of communicating. But I think it's really interesting that you said that you're frustrated with yourself as well, that you haven't redirected that mum. And I think that's really powerful and really reflective. Just to go back to that emotional literacy session, the irony, one of the things that really I found quite triggering was she used the four, the characters from Inside Out, the emotion characters. And she used the four characters, and she was talking about the red zone and mixing it up with the anger character. And I said, those are not the same things, right? Emotions are neutral. Emotions are useful. We don't have to neutralize anger. We just have to use it correctly. And so there was this misunderstanding that we can't, so I think I wanted to say that just because I didn't share that point before, but also, Angie, I think that mum who's crying out for help, she needs a session with you. Or she needs a vehicle to communicate with you that's not performing in front of her child. Either she's doing it on purpose to get the child's attention, she can't say it because he doesn't listen when you're not next to her, or she's oblivious to the effect that it's having on her child. But either way, it's very similar to what Rena's saying about the parents not understanding the impact that their approach is having on their child. And that's really, really powerful. Helen Osmond, come on.
Okay, I do have to dash off, so I might even abandon this one midway through. One of mine at the moment and please hear me carefully when I say this. One of mine in the tuition industry is that tutors who are not qualified teachers are inferior somehow. Now, please don't hear me saying that QTS is not a valuable thing to hold. It's a very valuable thing. It's experience, and you have worked hard for it if you do hold it. It just doesn't mean that those of us that don't hold QTS aren't any good at this. Sorry, I know some of you've heard that one before.
Sorry, my lovely. Why do you feel like you have to apologize 16 times within that explainer?
Because I know
ranting.
that I have
Say
seen, I am ranting a little bit, but I have seen those that do hold QTS be hurt by those of us that don't being a bit backlashy. So it's not that we don't value QTS, it's a very important thing, we recognise that. But the rant is when it's the other way around, isn't sort of reciprocated, I guess, that we are very good. And I mean, I've got evidence, 15 years of evidence that I am very good at what I do.
Yeah, you're not bad. You're not bad.
Yeah, thank you. That's tutor and parent perspective on that one. So yeah, there we go. That's my rant. That's my big one.
Okay, and well done for saying it carefully. From experience of this tends to be quite a hotspot as a conversation, and people tend to get defensive of their QTS status, QT, qualified teacher status. What we're really saying is you can be an awesome tutor without being a qualified teacher. There is a postgraduate certificate in professional tutoring that you might want to look into. Jenna, tell us about your nod.
For which bit?
Oh, good. Go on then.
There are other teaching qualifications. There are other ways in, and tutoring is so different from classroom teaching. QTS does not prepare you for one-to-one education. It doesn't necessarily prepare you for even group teaching outside of traditional classrooms. It doesn't prepare you for supplementary teaching. It doesn't prepare you for, even if you do a SEND specialism, it doesn't prepare you for, I think my blood pressure must be really low for her to be like properly in my face. Like, it doesn't prepare you for that kind of education. It doesn't matter if it's gift and time. It doesn't prepare you for teaching in a bloody classroom. Excuse French. How can it prepare you for something so insanely different? And you talk to anyone who studies, like academically studies education outside of classrooms, and they would tell you that it isn't fit for purpose. So it's why you have fought so hard, and you specifically, Julia, have fought so hard to get, I'm calling it the PGCT. Like, I know that that's another thing already, but it is, right? It's the equivalent for us because it is so different. Like,
that's what I wanted to hear. That's the soundtrack for today. You're right. And Jenna, the other thing that's making me think when you're saying that, and Helen, thanks for bringing up such a juicy one, is students don't need more of the same.
No, that's the whole bloody point.
If what PGCEs taught was what the child needed, they wouldn't need a tutor.
Exactly. If you wanted more school, be at school more.
Dee, bring it.
Having just had a really lovely half-hour catch-up with another tutor, and some of the things that she said, I think it's about, we talk about we are colleagues, not competitors, but actually within tutoring there are, and I'm getting a sense, she spoke quite openly about this, and I'm getting a sense of it, that it's feeling less, we're saying the words, but actually we're not, we're talking the talk, but we're not walking the walk.
I think that's true.
And that's sad. Really that's sad for me, and that's why I like hunkering within qualified tutor, because that collaborators, not competitors, and we're here to support and encourage and call out if we need to. But it's a very, I do feel really safe and really supported. And I know that if I need to upskill, this is the place to do it.
Thank you. I'm not going to respond to that one. It's too triggering.
Okay.
Would you like to hear the second question?
Mm-hmm.
If you had a magic wand, what's one thing you'd change about the tutoring industry? Dee, let's stay with you.
This obsession, I know we need to do it, but this thing about marketing and about all this stuff. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I love it. Come on, can we just rant about marketing for a second? I never signed up to be a marketeer. I'm an educator. Angie?
There are some wonderful people in this call, and within the qualified tutor community who do some amazing stuff in supporting us in doing that stuff. And I'm so grateful for those people who have that expertise and are willing to support and encourage and all the rest of it. But it does my head in.
Go on, Claire, answer her.
What's to answer? We all have our different things. I've really enjoyed that side of running a business, and it's given me like before I became a tutor and I'd come out of supply teaching and I'd gone for a couple of other jobs and I hadn't got anything, and it was a real like, this is it, I'm just here to pair the socks now, you know, that's my job. And then I fell into the tutoring and it took off really quickly, and I really loved learning about the business side of things. And so for me, that part of the tutoring journey has actually taught me that I've got lots of other skills as well.
That's very awesome. That's very, very awesome. I honestly feel like we need, you know, our wonderful Emma, and now you, Claire, with the group tuition, you're doing that brilliant thing that so many of us do of teaching other people how to do what it is you've cracked. I want a done for you service. Because I just don't want to engage with social media anymore. It's not good for my soul. So Claire, if you could just make that happen by September, that'd be great.
Julia, can I do mine next very, very quickly because I need to dash off before half
Yes,
past?
I'm so glad that you did that. Go.
Sorry, just very, very quickly. The one thing to change about the tuition industry, group tuition isn't necessarily the answer to scale. There is a lot of push out there at the moment that once you're full one-to-one, group tuition is the next thing. And while it's an absolutely valid thing, and it's great to try it, it's not for everybody, and you don't have to scale, and you can scale in other ways. It doesn't have to be group tuition.
The whole point of finding your element in tutoring is to do the thing that works for you. It's personalized for the tutor, not just for the child. And that's that language that you just used about there's a push out there. There's a push out there because somebody's selling it.
Yep.
Somebody made a lead magnet, and then they did a thing, and then they did a webinar, and then they sold a thing, and now you're thinking,
fine. If you want to do group tuition, that's fine. I gave it a go, and I didn't like doing it.
Yeah,
so it's an absolutely valid thing to try, and if you like it and it works, I know Claire, you're a massive group person, and that works brilliantly for you. I don't like doing
not
it.
massive groups. Just
no. She's also not a massive person, but that's a different.
I mean, I'm coming to you next. I can see how we go.
I'm going before I say anything else.
No, wait, don't go. I just want to tell you, I have a rant on top of your rant. I'm ranting about people who are teaching courses about selling lead magnets to do the thing with the other thing and then the stuff, and then because blimey, the only people who are making money out of any of that are the people who are selling to do the thing in the first place. And actually, I'd much rather do my work. I would much rather do my work. You know, and I see so many mums who are at home looking for the next thing, looking to bring in money, looking to not be pairing socks, the rest of their lives. And this looks like it's a solution, and it's not a solution. It's a whole nother bicycle to pedal on. And if you're
to go and explore lead magnets and that sort of thing, then great, go and do it. But it doesn't have to be done. That's my rant. I'm going. I gotta go.
You're the best.
See you later.
She's going off to make a lead magnet.
I'm really not. If I can remember how to hang up, that would be really good, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Also, wasn't it cool that Helen said, I don't love group tuition, I'm an awesome tutor, and I don't love teaching groups? How confident. Rena, it's on you. Bring it.
I know, I was listening and I was like, I think my major rant now thinking about is agencies.
Okay, come on.
Okay, it's kind of really stupid, but it's like filling in some of my gaps because I'm not teaching the maths, the English, the science to get the higher paid rates. I am doing creative subjects. At the moment, I'm kind of painting a canvas. So I'm sitting here talking to you, painting a canvas. So I'm creative. So to fill in those gaps, I go to agencies to fill in my gaps. And they're paying £13, £12 an hour. And you're like, that's not the way to go, because you've got somebody who's intelligent and knows what they're doing, and if they've done the SEN trainings or they've been through it, or you don't treat them with such disdain. And then sorry, this has gone into a really horrible rant.
Bring it.
I had this. It just basically was something that really annoyed me. Was I had their same host say, why are you not doing a 2-hour session when you've got somebody who's autistic and ASD? And I'm like, they can't tolerate that. You can see how they dysregulate. Why am I going to do a 2-hour session when they're going to just ignore me? And there's no point. They're not learning. They're not engaging. They're not enjoying that learning. Why am I going to do this? And then they turn around going, you must do a 2-hour session. I'm like, I'm just going to sit there. Then they're going to be dysregulated. They're not going to engage. There's no learning. There's no enjoyment on my part. There's none on their part. What are we doing? Sitting in a room and just staring at them? And it really annoys me that they tend to try and pay you 12, 11, less than minimum wage sometimes, even if you're a qualified tutor or not a qualified teacher. Regardless, that's just wrong. You have the skills and you're there to do it, and they just keep telling you. Sorry, it just got me annoyed.
It's important what you're saying, because it's disrespect in two directions. It's disrespect to you in terms of the hourly rate, and it's disrespect to the needs of the child, that they're forcing a 2-hour session on a child who can't cope with the 2-hour session because they're getting paid to deliver a 2-hour session. That is not right. Jenna, I know you have opinions on this. Bring them.
Like, even just looking at the pay side of it, right? So many agencies pay for just direct delivery, and you know, I am quite specialist in what I do. I get sent hours and hours like commute each way, and all I get paid for is the direct delivery. I don't get any petrol, I don't get any resources. I still, on top of that, have to do all of the admin. I still have to do all of the meetings with the agency.
Jenna, how's that worth your while?
Exactly. And like,
oh, okay, sorry.
yeah, no, that's the point.
Yeah.
And you get stuck. And then on top of that, they are so focused, even when the way they're set up is supposed to be this amazing, oh my gosh, we're actually doing tutoring as an agency right, the way that it needs to be for these really vulnerable, extra vulnerable, most hard to reach young people. And yet all they actually care about is the bottom line. When it comes to safeguarding, severe safeguarding referrals get pushed as, oh, that doesn't meet threshold for going to Lardo, so we're not going to do anything about it. We're not going to report it to the school. And it's constant. And it's not just one agency, although I can think of a particularly bad agency but it's across the board. And it's just this whole thing of, oh, if you're not running an agency, you're not scaling to become a tutoring agency, then you're clearly not good enough as a tutor. Like, what? No, that's
okay, hold on. It's too much. I can't process it all. Hold on. So that last point was, so Helen, before she dropped off, said, it's not necessarily that your next step after you're maxed out your slots is groups. You're saying it's not necessarily that once you've maxed out your independent tutoring capacity, you should be building up an agency.
Yeah.
It's not necessary to scale in one direction or another, or to scale at all. You find what works for you.
Exactly.
So that's one thing. But the other thing is, you said, you hinted that there was one tutoring agency that you weren't going to name, but that wasn't good enough. And there's
Yeah.
something about the wide range of quality that is happening in agencies in the experience of the tutor and of the parent and the student. Is that true?
Wait, say that again.
That different that some agencies are better than others.
Yes. In my experience, when you find a really good agency, they're usually a little bit smaller. They spend that little bit of extra time or process on making it right for tutors as well as for families that make it balanced. Yes, that means that sometimes they don't make quite as much percentage on each thing, but the moment they get big enough, they scale and they become as crap as the rest.
So you're
Or
saying that
worse.
is there a size tipping point?
I think so. I mean, even if like you've seen, there are some that then franchise out, and again, you lose that identity. They're capitalizing on their original ethos and their original kind of everything, but then no longer delivering that. They're still making, there's a word for it and I cannot remember what it is right now. I'm a little bit pain meds and everything, but like, so they become soulless and they're still trying to pretend and portray this previous thing. But the moment they franchise, the moment they get too big for their britches and they start trying to min-max every penny, a lot of the time that scale, like in order to scale, they decide to bring in one of these business coaches or, you know, that sort of thing. And it just goes that, you know?
Yeah. I know that's the risk. I know that there tends to be a tipping point between quantity and quality.
Yeah.
And navigating past that is the very few businesses in any industry. There's only very few businesses that can deliver quality at scale, because the processes involved in that are immensely skilled. Yes, go on, Jenna.
And I feel like this idea of what tutoring is, it kind of links to that because you get these really good tutors in place, you know, these really good things, and you're still like selling that. But as it becomes worse and worse for tutors and it's all about the money and not about the quality, you end up with those young, inexperienced students, those inappropriate tutors.
Tutors.
Yeah.
Okay.
That come.
Sorry, hold on. Young doesn't necessarily mean inappropriate.
No, that's why I said they're two separate things. The young students and then the inappropriate that become tutors and then the inappropriate tutors. Those are two separate groups.
Got it.
And those are the ones who stay. And then you get this cycle of that reinforced thing that's so...
Yeah, that goes right back to what Claire was saying.
Yeah, exactly.
That we actually get stuck with poor quality.
Yeah.
Claire, I was going to come to you next anyway. I feel like there's a magic wand in your hand.
My magic wand would be, I would like to ban the phrase, I'm just a tutor.
Actually, I'm just anything isn't right, is it?
No, and I think, and again, and that links back to what I first said. Yeah, okay, there are some people out there who are just doing a bit of tutoring to earn a bit of extra money each week. But the vast majority of us, it is our profession. And I'm not just a tutor. I am a tutor, I'm a mentor, I am a CEO. You know, I'm not
You're
just
a boss. That's what you are. You're
I'm
a girl
what?
boss. You're a girl boss.
Yes. Yeah, so that's it's not the most serious of magic wands. There are obviously more big ones, but I think that links back to my first thing, and it's a mindset thing. That people, you know, and when tutors question their skills or question how much they should charge, or worry about putting up their prices or changing their terms and conditions or asking for pay in advance, you know, it's because it boils back down to, if you said what you do, then I'm just a tutor. And it's like, well, no, you're not.
And you have to be sure that you're being effective. Like, it's not only mindset, it's not only bigging yourself up, it's actually being sure that you're making a difference for young people and then valuing that difference that you're making.
I mean, even a window cleaner would say, I'm a window cleaner. They wouldn't say, I'm
Yeah.
just a window cleaner.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
you know, you
I
value what you do.
value what you do, and actually we can take that as a bigger bugbear. I think value what you do is really, really important. And also self-talk. Can I have a quick rant about self-talk? I don't talk to anybody the way I talk to myself. I wouldn't dream of it. Well, maybe my husband. No, I'm joking. Not even my husband. Because we are so hard on ourselves. We're so critical. We've come through these, attainment-driven systems that I in the training that I did with Nudge this week, I shared Brene Brown's work on shame. She talks about shame as the universal experience, and that shame erodes us from our foundations outwards. It's really, really powerful. And so a quick rant on negative self-talk is probably worthwhile. Dee, you're next.
Well, we're still waving magic wands away.
I don't mind. Do you want to move on to the next question?
I would. Can we move on to the next question?
Go on then. Dee, what's something you're determined to see improve next year? You guys are such fun. I'm going to miss this next Thursday.
I am going to work on my discipline about wandering down rabbit holes.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I know. I may UDHD. This is never going to happen, but I am.
Hold on. Why? Yes, Jenna, jinx.
Why would you want to?
Or why do you need to?
Because it's eating. It's using up the 24 hours that I have in a day, and it means that other things are not getting done. I have got a first-class honours degree in displacement activity.
No, you don't. Show up for the graduation.
In fact, if I'm not on the road to a master's by now, because I've been doing it so long, and I mean, I have at least got them organised now. But these are all the receipts that I haven't yet put through my personal accounts. They are now in monthly envelopes.
You know where they are.
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
and this is thanks to Julie Shammy Edwards.
Yeah,
She suggested just at least put them in envelopes. And while we were in the call, I dealt with December, so I now only have 2025 to deal with. But yeah, and the other. I want to get much better at using AI as well. I mean, I had a wonderful moment on Sunday when I gave ChatGPT photos of a Year 10's 2 mock maths papers. And what would have taken me hours, and I probably wouldn't have done as good a job, it was able to do a lot of the heavy lifting for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. My yummy 10-year-old said this morning, I've got a new hobby, ChatGPT. She's so nice.
I used a prompt.
I have very weird feelings about that.
I used a prompt from a coach I saw she posted on Facebook about it, and I took her prompt and put it into ChatGPT, and it has given me a lot to think about. So that was really interesting.
I'm not clear. What was the prompt?
So, oh gosh, now you're asking.
I haven't learned to use prompts at all. I'm hoping it's going to prompt me, not the other way around.
Well, I did a session with Katie Stone on using AI, and she's got a custom ChatGPT called Prompting Poppy, which I now have access to, so you can learn how to write good prompts. But no, this was the prompt. If you had to describe the version of me that shows up the most in conversations, who am I trying to be? What am I avoiding by staying in that role? Then tell me straight, what's the risk of letting that version go?
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Sadly, I did this at stupid o'clock this morning. Well, it wasn't stupid, but I wasn't yet out of bed, and I was about to launch into a really busy day, so I did not have time then to follow up on Charlie's questions. but it is something that I am going to do because it came up with some most amazing stuff. And of course, Charlie, because I'm a coach, coaches me. So, you know, it's bonkers.
Wow. Okay. Angie, can I come to you next?
Which question?
Well, which one do you want? Do you want the magic wand question, or do you want the what are you going to improve at next year question?
Okay, what am I going to improve at? Okay, so I'm going to improve at pushing myself forward, promoting myself, and having the confidence to be me and in my own abilities. That's massive.
We're gonna help you with that.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen that happen lots of times around here. Yeah, that's big, isn't it? Jenna, what are you going to do next year?
Can I also jump in on the first question?
Go on then. You've got a magic one.
So the thing that I'm not going to do or going to do next year is I am no longer going to be working 7 days a week. I'm also not going to be doing the 10 to 20 hour days that I was doing. I am currently on medical leave and probably will be for the rest of the academic year post-op. And I am using this time to really, really build better routines. The way that I do for my young people and my families that I work with, I am trying really hard to make sure that I am doing those things for myself. Part of that has been helped by having some support at home beyond my partner, and I've still got like nurses and stuff coming to the house, and that has really helped. And so my plan is going to be get that stuck in, and I may need some help to keep accountable, especially if that home support goes away, which it may do because it's really bloody expensive once we have to pay for it, which we have to do from yesterday.
Oh no.
It's such a process. And if anyone would like me to rant to them about this bloody process, that would be very appreciated.
You know what? I could rant about the send process in the same way. Good.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it
Oh
so
my gosh, how have we not discussed send yet? Sorry, Jenna, go on. I distracted myself.
My answer to the first question, which kind of ties into the second question, is wait, I wrote it down in chat because I knew I was going to forget.
Yes, you did. You did. Where's it? We're all looking for it now.
Oh, there we go. Children and young people are people. They have voices. They have opinions. They can make choices. Why do they not get included in shaping their education? Why don't they get included in choosing their own tutor? Why, like the number of families that I work with, because one of the things that I do is skills for independence, and you know the it's technically assertiveness, but it comes under young people's voice and developing that sense of self and all of that identity.
Advocating for yourself.
Yeah. And I've worked with so many teenagers where the parents are like, oh, this young person really struggles to have any independence. You know, I work with a lot of young people who have attachment challenges and, you know, complex attachment relationships and all of that stuff. And they're like, oh, you know, my young person has separation anxiety. They can't do anything by themselves, blah, blah, blah. And yet they will not give that young person their own voice. They will not, they get, like, to me, it's normal to ask the young person, well, where do you want this, what do you want this journey to look like? What are your goals? How can we make sure that we're balancing and making sure we're working to your goals as well as the things that you need and other people think you need? And if your parents or whoever is paying for it have specific goals, how do we balance this and get the young person involved? And, you know, if there are going to be changes happening, like deciding if a young person is going to be put forward for higher or foundation, or even being put forward for the exam, or like I was talking to someone the other day who, this young person is very, very set on sitting the GCSEs in maths and English. And, you know, they're on EOTAS home tutoring. And they have been very, very clear that the only thing they care about is the GCSE. They know it's harder, but they've only been with this tutor for a couple of months, and they were forced to put in, not just for functional skills, but functional skills level 1. And they knew, they were constantly saying, I don't want to do this. I don't see the value in this. I don't mind if it takes me an extra year. I want to do the GCSE. And this week, sitting some of it and having to do, like, it was at the essay part that they were redoing. It was a practice. It wasn't even the real thing. And full meltdown, it did not happen. Why aren't we listening to young people? Why is that not valued? Why is that not standard? And I have so many parents that are absolutely astounded that I'm having these conversations with the young people and getting their input because it's their entire life.
It makes me very sad.
What?
It's really sad.
How can you even know what the answer is if you don't include the young person?
Like A, B, and C. That's
Yeah.
the beginning of everything. If you're not doing it for them, who are you doing it for?
Exactly. And it's like, it can be, do it age appropriately, do it appropriate and respectfully and the way that that young person needs, and you give it whatever weighting or credence you think is right, but it's not nothing. It can never be zero weight.
Our wonderful Angie introduced something that I've quoted you 3 times a week since you said it. So we don't talk about pathological demand avoidance anymore. PDA nowadays is persistent demand for autonomy.
Yes.
Why would we remove autonomy from our young people? The whole point is that they're supposed to become functioning adults.
They don't magically develop it all on their 18th birthday.
And frankly, they can't be independent thinkers just when you need them to be.
Exactly.
You want an independent thinker, you're going to have to cope with an independent thinker.
So true. So
okay.
true.
Claire Torbert, what are you going to do next year?
Me personally, so one of the things that I've been thinking about, and it probably boils down to funding at the end of the day. So I've been working with a student as part of her EOTAS package, and this entire year, like, it's employed by an agency, but this entire year, no one has been in touch with me about her progress, like that I'm doing my job properly. Just nothing, and it blows my mind that has happened. I mean, personally, obviously I've done a great job, but it just seems weird that this student, young person's education has been handed over to me. I'm the only maths tutor she sees. I see her 2 hours a week, and literally nothing. I put the weekly comment onto the platform that I've done the lesson, but there's no check on standards at all. And I was wondering whether I should email them and just say, this is really weird, and I think I'm definitely going to do it. I don't want to be like in an Ofsted situation. I don't want people checking up on me every 5 minutes, but it just seems really weird that no one in any of her provision has consulted my opinion or asked for a report or anything.
It seems really neglectful.
Yeah.
What you're describing. Yeah, absolutely. I've got another rant for you. I'm still on rants.
Really quickly before you have your rant. It's pervasive drive for autonomy.
Pervasive drive for autonomy. I prefer persistent demand.
I like both. I feel like it's
let's have them all. Okay, do you want to hear my rant? Working from home and putting on weight. I'm just putting it out there. Yeah, my step count can be 120, which is precisely the journey from my desk to the kettle and back again 3 times.
Do you know what?
Regina's not here, but I'm sure she would love to know that I did actually for a couple of months keep a spreadsheet of my step count as a bid but it's because I set myself a monthly target. I set myself a monthly target of 300,000 steps, which was 10,000 steps a day, give a little bit. And it was really hard. And even now, actually, I've just been sort of making note, and there is a walk on my to-do list. I have to go out for a walk. But I also found, my weight was definitely creeping up from working at home. And I realised that was affecting me and my head.
Yeah.
And not helping all the other things that go on. And I've really prioritised it over the last few months.
Honestly, it comes across. And it's really, really important. I mean, it's either that or get a bigger chair.
You can put a little bike underneath your table.
I tried a little walking treadmill, but it's in the shed.
I've got a little bike thing that I put underneath.
You use it?
Yeah, so when I'm sitting there, I can do a little bike thing, and it's not a treadmill because you're not walking.
Okay, so Rena is doing the bike thing. She's painting the canvas. She's tutoring over here. I love it. Have you, Rena, have you given us your plan for next? Jenna, go on.
Go,
Do you know
Jenna.
one thing that doesn't make sense to me?
Go
How
on.
is it that I don't feel like when I'm driving to clients, I'm, my car is literally outside my door. I don't have to go very far. And then I'm going to the client's house, parking right outside and sitting there, and that still somehow loses
Do you
me.
want me to tell you? I tell
Yeah.
you, it's because you're from the fridge.
See, I don't know. I don't. I mean, my issues with I don't eat. When I'm at home, I don't eat.
Yeah.
But if I'm out, I eat. I don't understand. There's something magic about being out and about. Maybe it's just being in person burns that many more calories. You're a bit more engaged. I don't know.
Yeah. So working from home, but also working online. There's something about the online that sort of does stultify, and also we spend so much more time looking at ourselves. I mean, it is possible to turn off the self view, but none of us have done it, and I know that because I see you touching your hair. Do you, Dee?
I think I can't remember. It was Irish from Pencil Spaces who mentioned it. Can't remember, a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I immediately turned off self view, and it was a complete game changer for me.
Have you still got it off?
Yeah.
So you don't know about that thing on your nose?
No, I don't, and I don't care. And this is what I hate about is it Google Meet, that you have to
you can minimize it on Google Meet.
You can.
Oh, I did a session on Google Meet this week. It was so sad.
But you still got this little thing that.
No, you can make it go away. You can make it go away.
I can't make that go. Right, okay. But
I need it on though. I need it on because it makes me remember that you can all see me. If I can't see myself,
there you go.
If I started to drift or get distracted, I know that you can. If I start looking down and writing to me, you can all see me. And if I couldn't see myself, I would forget that you could see me. So it helps me maintain my concentration. And sit up.
I have OBS running on the other screen so that I don't forget. And I go, oh, I know what you can see. So if like someone comes into the room or whatever, and I want to remember that.
I have a quick rant about anybody who's not using Zoom. It's so much more comfortable than Teams or Meet.
It does not have very much accessibility. It's awful for accessibility. I hate it. And there's so many issues. Yeah.
Really?
I really struggle with
the transcript thing.
That and so many others, like keyboard
control. Go on then. Give us a quick rant about disability. I'm muting myself because I keep speaking over you. Give us a quick rant.
So for anyone who doesn't know, I am thoroughly neurospicy. I have all the tisms. I'm autistic, dyslexic, ADHD, dyspraxic. I also have loads of physical health issues. And at the moment, I'm recovering from surgery, which makes it even worse. But like I have joint issues. I have all these things. And I use a lot of keyboard controls to use stuff. One of the reasons is I learned it initially because my best friend at school was blind, completely blind. And so I learned to use it to work with her and do stuff with her. But like, I am also very dyslexic, and so reading stuff and being able to zoom in on stuff and see what people are saying, I have the subtitles on at all times and stuff. And when you use keyboard controls, the idea is that you're supposed to be able to do a quick keyboard thing to be able to do the same things. But so often, like on Zoom, one of the ways to like go through the different links on screen is to just tab through them. So you press tab on your keyboard and it goes next thing that you can click on, next thing that you can click on. But you can't then click on a menu to open the menu. It just doesn't work and stuff like that. And like, because of like, this is my new keyboard for typing on. It's amazing.
Have you cracked it?
I had started to, and then I had it sent all the way from America. And one of the caps on one of the keys came off, and now I'm sad about it, so I've put it aside. But like I can't sit upright for very long, so it actually is way more intuitive than I thought it was going to be. Because the idea with this is it's a bit like a what are these called?
Joystick.
The game controller, joystick, game controller as well, and you can go in all different directions for your things to move. It's exactly.
I hope you noticed that she's got gadgets next to her, whereas you've got your receipts.
I'm not gadgets. But like, and like you can do corded typing, so multiple letters at a time, and it does stuff for you, and it's very, very cool, and you can customize it and stuff. And like, even accessibility is such a thing, and like with different platforms, and people don't like in Zoom, you have to enable it in your, like, as a host, you have to enable it in your main settings, in your meeting settings, and your core thing, to be able to enable closed captions for your attendees. And it's not default on. They theoretically said they were changing that Zoom word, but it's not. You still have to manually turn it on. You can't turn it on in a call. It has to be in your main settings. And people don't do that. Same with Teams. Teams is even worse. But Teams,
hold on, have we got it done? Have we got it set up?
Yeah, it took you didn't have it set up when I first joined.
And then you pinged it. You did that.
Yeah,
oh,
and you did.
okay,
but like, I have to ask every single time I join anything for it to be enabled, apart from Google Meet, because Google would have that as standard. But like, what?
Bye, Maria. Thank you for joining us. We've got 2 minutes left. I'm so glad that we had a chance to do the inclusion rant. I feel like we didn't even scratch the surface with the send rant, but again, I don't think I would have stopped if I'd started. So that's probably a good thing.
We need a whole session just on send ranting.
I'm so proud of us that even with the invitation to rant, we were still so appropriate and productive and respectful and constructive and all of those things. The thing that I'm going to do better next year is watch less TV, because frankly, in the last 12 months, I've watched enough TV for at least 10 years of any normal civilized human. So no Netflix for me. That's my thing. And being more present. Thank you so much to Rena, to Jenna, to Claire, to Dee, to Josephine, though we didn't get to see you properly. You need to start watching TV, Jenna. You can have some of mine. And I look forward to, well, I'll connect with you on World Tutors Day, which is just next week. And then we'll have something nice and social in August, and I'll see you back in September. Lots and lots of love. Thanks for an awesome year. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.